Now it's recording.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead and start it.
It's recording.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, roll.
Hello, good evening, Brigaders. I'm Coach Corinne, and I'm super excited to talk to you guys today about the importance of posturing and how we carry ourselves, the facial expressions we have. This is going to be kind of about power poses. This is the catchphrase that we're using today. So before we really delve into all of this, I want you guys to take a second and evaluate how you are standing or sitting, wherever you are, at home, at work, at your desk. What is your posture like right now? Are you sitting up straight? Are you standing straight? Are you sitting with your arms crossed like this? Are you hunched over a desk? Just kind of take a second to evaluate how you are standing or sitting right now, because this is going to be super applicable to everything we're talking about today. So we already kind of know the value of our facial expressions and our posturing, just how other people perceive us. I'm sure you guys have heard, or maybe some of y'all haven't, but if you stand in the mirror and smile at yourself, it actually causes your body to release endorphins, and you will literally be happier just by seeing yourself smile in the mirror for a few seconds. It seems silly, but it actually is a chemical process that happens in our body when we see ourselves smiling. And the way we stand, or the way we posture ourselves, does the same thing. So what is good posturing? You guys have seen lots of pictures. If we think about like the Olympics and stuff, people like winning races and putting their hands up in the air. You see people celebrating. Like every time we see someone feeling super powerful, maybe because they just won a race, they just got that promotion they really wanted. There are lots of stances that demonstrate power. You'll see people with their hands in the air, people with their hands on their hips like this. Even maybe you're standing, you might not even be celebrating a big win or getting something you really wanted, but maybe you're just feeling really confident and you're standing up straight. You're taking up space in whatever area you're in. Those are all poses or posturing that demonstrates that you feel powerful, that you are confident in yourself. On the other side of the spectrum, poses where we're crossing our arms like this, hunched over, maybe turned away, looking down, looking away from the person we're talking to. All of those different postures indicate to people that we are maybe not feeling ourselves. Maybe we're a little insecure, or we feel defeated or weak. Another one, and I catch myself doing this all the time, is the touching of the neck. Anything where you're protecting your neck or protecting your face like this indicates feeling of insecurity. So maybe you're scared, maybe you feel a little bit nervous. Anything like this, I know I do this a lot, rubbing my neck. Those are things that we want to try to avoid. Unsurprisingly, women tend to exhibit postures that close themselves off or maybe make themselves seem meek or weaker or insecure, more so than men. This partially has to do with the hormones that we have in our body. This also has to do with what we're taught socially. Socially, women are usually taught to stand back, to be a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved, and not told to go for it, lean in, take up space, things like that. These are just normal things that we experience in our lives just because of the way we were raised and the way we grew up. So what can we do about this? It's easy to change your posturing, to stand up straighter, to take up space in your environment around whatever you're doing. But a lot of us might feel silly. You might feel like, okay, I'm just going to stand here like this with my hands on my hips, and then, I'm going to get this promotion that I really want. Not necessarily, but there are some chemical processes that are going on in our body that we can affect with our posturing. So the two main hormones that we're thinking about affecting when we're doing these poses, it's going to be our testosterone and our cortisol levels. So testosterone is, we think of guys having lots of testosterone, but everybody has testosterone in their body. Your testosterone is kind of your fight hormone. So whenever you're feeling powerful or confident, whenever you're lifting really heavy weight, your body's releasing a little bit of extra testosterone. Cortisol is what we like to think of as the stress hormone. So whenever you're really stressed or really nervous, your body's releasing lots of cortisol in your body, and that's going to be our flight hormone. So by changing our power pose, or by changing our poses from something like a lower power pose to a more high power pose, we are actually affecting the levels of testosterone and cortisol in our body. So if you were to take an average person and have them stand in a pose that makes them feel powerful, maybe we have our hands on our hips or our hands up in the air like this, for just 2 minutes, your testosterone levels are going to be raised and your cortisol levels are going to drop. Similarly, if you take any random person and you stand maybe hunched over, looking down with your arms crossed across your body like this for 2 minutes, your testosterone levels are going to drop and your cortisol levels are going to raise up. So this is something that happens to literally everyone. Our posturing is super important, and we can fake it till we make it, essentially, by standing with better posture, making ourselves feel more powerful, taking up lots more space. It may feel silly to you at first to do this, but over the course of a few days or weeks or so of making sure we pay attention to our posturing, you'll start to notice a difference in your behavior. Because we're not just, we're changing our posture to change our minds, literally the chemicals that our brain is interpreting, so that way we can change our behavior over time. Things like thinking about, so one instance that I like to think of, because this is applicable to everyone, we've all been in different job interviews, and what do you do when you're waiting for a job interview? You're probably sitting down somewhere, you might be hunched over looking at your phone, maybe you're just bored, you want to just go ahead and get it over with, or maybe you're really nervous, maybe it's something that's really important to you, you're scared, you might be sitting there hunched over, shaking your leg, tapping your foot, twiddling your thumbs, whatever you're doing, if you're sitting like that, or standing with your arms crossed waiting, you're releasing more cortisol levels in your body and you're lowering your testosterone. So what is that going to do? That's going to make your performance in an interview worse. You're going to not only feel more nervous or more stressed out, but you're also going to be perceived by your future employers as potentially less qualified, maybe not as capable, and none of us want to come off that way. Of course, we want to seem like our most capable, most confident selves. So if you're thinking about going into a job interview, think about your posture. How are you sitting? If you're sitting down, that's totally fine. Don't cross your legs. Sit there, sit up straight, talk to people around you, make yourself appear comfortable, even if you don't feel comfortable, even if you are really nervous. If you think about making yourself seem more confident and seem more qualified, you will literally be perceived, as so by the people who are interviewing you. Similarly, this is super applicable to us as athletes in the gym. I'm sure we've all been through this, where we're, going for a 1 rep max, whatever it could be any lift, and you might be sitting down, because our coaches always tell us to sit down in between lifts, which is smart, we should sit down. But a lot of us are going to choose to sit down and hunch over. We might be leaning forward with our hands on our knees like this, or maybe we're sitting there leaned against a wall with our arms crossed. We're relaxed. We might seem really passive. Any position like that is going to cause your body to, again, drop in cortisol and produce more, or drop in testosterone and produce more cortisol. Instead, think about sitting down, and giving your legs a rest, giving your arms a rest, whatever muscles you're about to use. But we're still thinking about our posturing. We're sitting up straight. We're thinking powerful thoughts, making sure that you look athletic. If you look athletic, you will be more athletic. So think about your posturing when you're going for your next PR attempt. It will literally help increase your testosterone, which will enable you to lift more weight. This stuff is super crazy. It seems silly, but we really can't affect our presence. And by affecting our presence, we're going to become more prepared for any kind of situation that we might be in, and we're going to feel more confident. We all know that we perform better and when we are more confident, but we can literally make ourselves feel better, feel more secure based on the way we stand. I'm going to review my notes here. So in closing here, next time you guys are about to go for a PR attempt, or maybe you're just about to get into a super stressful situation, or you're going in for a job interview, think about the way you're standing, all right? Think about your posturing. Are you in a low power pose or are you in a high power pose? If you're not in a high power pose, get into one. It'll affect your mood. It'll make you more confident. It's super easy, cheap. It's completely free. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this is helpful.
Awesome.